What's up, everybody? It is the Best Spot Kids moving back with another video, and we're talking about the Xbox Series X again. Because yes, 6-7 months later, it is still the best console to have. I say that confidently. I say that I don't care if anybody challenges it. I know there's plenty of people on YouTube in their basements making videos about how the PS5 is better because of exclusives. And I mean, if you play games solely for games that Sony publishes, then that's a win for you. I mean, I actually do that, but and the crazy thing is I actually do play PlayStation for games only Sony publishes, and that results into me playing the PlayStation about 3 times or less per year. So that happened on the PS4 side of things, and it's going to happen again on the PS5 side of things. And I'm not saying PlayStation 5 is a bad console. It's a wonderful console, and it's a wonderful console for games made exclusively for PlayStation. I'm expecting big, major things for Ratchet and Clank, and then Horizon I think it's Forbidden West later in the year if it still comes out. Well, the other games offerings that came out for PlayStation so far, I mean, hasn't been that, big deal. I'm not a Demon Souls guy. Spider-Man was the best game I played on the PS5 since launch, but that was a cross-generational effort with PS4 and whatnot, but still a great game. I appreciated the next-gen upgrades to that. But all the other stuff since then, I'm not feeling Returnal. I think that's a crap game, but that's neither here or there. But in terms of the argument with Xbox versus PlayStation, the PlayStation's always going to win the battle of exclusive right now, because by default, Xbox shares a lot of its exclusive library with the PC. And if it's not sharing with the PC, it's sharing with last gen Xbox. But so when you take that into consideration, it's like, okay, I have to literally, we have to literally go buy games based off them not existing on PlayStation. But if you want to argue who's going to have the most exclusive, it's PlayStation. Sure, better exclusives, that's going to be subjective, but as of right now, 1-2 is better than none. So right now, PlayStation is leading that. The only issue with that when we argue that, oh, the first party lineup is the end all be all, I literally play PlayStation 4 exclusives, and I literally play that thing once or twice a year. So it does nothing for my existing library for the rest of the games that I want to play. The exclusives does not make up for that. And this is where we talk about Xbox. Xbox is my primary platform. I'll play the exclusive, but I play primarily everything else on it. And it's been a wonderful 6 months when you consider Game Pass, the games that's dropped there, the games that's currently coming to Game Pass that I don't have to spend 60 or 70 bucks on. It's literally allowed me to consume more games. So with the Xbox Series X and with Game Pass, I can buy games like the games that aren't coming in the Game Pass easily with no problem. Scarlet Nexus, Biomutant, Hired Gun. Those games I plan on getting day and date on Xbox because I have the funds for them. And then with Game Pass Ultimate, I earned enough points that one of those games are going to be free for me, whichever one I want to apply my Xbox credits for based off doing those Xbox Game Pass quests that get you points, which you can turn into Xbox currency. Another is an amazing perk on the Xbox side. The biggest thing about the Xbox consoles, and why I think personally for anybody that's looking to buy a console, is that it's literally playing all games best. It's literally cashing in on that promise. For example, games like if we really want to do it, look at games like that are coming soon, like games like Biomutant. This game is targeting PS4 and Xbox One, and of course their mid-gen refresh versions of those games. So these games are at 1080p 60 on those mid-gen consoles. Now carry that over to the Xbox Series X and PS5. On the Xbox Series X, is the only console that could tap into this game and make it a more of a appropriate next-gen experience by running this game at a full 4K 60 frames per second. The PS5 is taking this game to 1080p 60, which is just on par with the PS4 Pro. So my thing is, yes, and the reason why this is a big deal is because a lot of these games that are coming up in this pre-order list, a lot of these freaking games were originally targeting Xbox One and PS4. So if they're just going to support it a little bit, or if they were targeting it to begin with, the PS5 is not going to tap into it to get the best out of that game. Sure, you'll get the best that the PS4 Pro can do to these games playing them on the PS5. Whereas on Xbox, these same games, if you're playing them on series consoles, you're getting better than what they could do on the Xbox One X. So if the game is targeting 1440p or 1080p on Xbox One X, they are able to tap into 4K on the Series X. If it's targeting 60 frames or 30 frames, they're able to get the higher frame rates. And in some cases, they're able to get 120 frames. So in these upcoming games that people like to call old, or they like to write off backwards compatibility as like not a thing, oh, it's not next generation, whatever, the Xbox can treat this game like a next gen, the PS5 can't. That's one of the biggest things. And a lot of the games that are releasing this year are cross-gen efforts or last-gen efforts, and the Xbox Series consoles are better equipped to take advantage of those as well as next-gen games. Not only that, we already know what the Xbox Series console is capable of doing to our existing library. So there is FPS Boost came out in February, right? That the number of supported titles has ballooned to 97 games being supported by FPS Boost, and that's 97 games that were originally 30 or 60 frames per second that are either running at 60 or 120 frames per second on the Xbox Series. Fun fact, a lot of these people are, talking their crap. I'm like, oh, but you got to play at lower resolutions, and they're running with, John from Digital Foundry's comments, because he kind of gets salty sometimes when it comes to talking about Xbox versus PlayStation. The Xbox Series X have 97 titles that are FPS boosted, and these are games ranging from 2013 all the way up to 2020 release date. So they're games ranging from old to relatively new that's being supported by these. And only on Xbox, unless you're playing on PC, only on Xbox are we playing these games at frame rates that we've never experienced them on. Now, of that 97, 45 of those games are Xbox One X enhanced. And of that 45 that are Xbox One X enhanced, which means they were 1440p or 4K or something like that, they were able to have higher resolutions than the base model. Of the 45 of them that are Xbox One X enhanced, 20 of those titles do lose its Xbox One X resolution, and they have to drop down to the Xbox One S resolutions to hit those frame rate targets, whereas the other 25 retain its Xbox One X enhancements while in FPS boost. And so I wanted to kill that notion, that fake narrative that people are running to, because they'll say most, and that's not true. It's not most. There's a good amount that does it, and that's because FPS boost, it's not, their developers are not tapping into the game. The developers, actually, it has nothing to do with the developers. They're not going back to fix these games for FPS Boost. The Xbox has this special platform emulator that can boost these games, and some games react good to it, some don't, and that's why some games aren't supported, and that's why some games have to drop its resolution. But the games that actually drop its resolutions, right, where it's actually, where you actually got to be like, damn, like, the games that really drop its resolutions, are the ones that are already 60 frames per second on the One X anyway. So meaning that they're like a game like Battlefield 1, a game like Battlefield 5, Battlefront 2, right? With FPS Boost, they're no longer targeting 60, they're targeting 120 frames. And in theory, they have to drop their resolution to the Xbox One S model. But even with current generation games, and it has a 120 hertz option, typically they have to drop the resolution either from 4K to 1440p or from 4K to 1080p to hit that target anyway. So this is normal scenarios that's taking place with FPS Boost. But when you consider the fact that Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Titanfall 2, on the Xbox One X, we're targeting crazy high resolution ultra textures to begin with, because when the Xbox One X came out, they wanted those high resolution textures. Sure, they were targeting 60 frames, but they weren't always able to hit that target. you kind of have a legit point to say, you know, I'd rather not use FPS Boost on those games, because on the Series X, you're getting a high-end PC experience at 60 frames per second. You're getting the 4K ultra textures. You're getting a locked 60 frames per second on Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, Titanfall 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2. And 120 frames per second on those games are just a bonus. Yeah, albeit at a lower resolution, but it's a bonus. But I want to kill that narrative that people are saying, games that are running at FPS Boost, they're all lower the resolution. They're lower than Xbox One S settings and stuff like that, and that's not true. It's only some of them that do that. There's more than enough that retain its 4K settings. So Xbox Series, I believe Xbox Series X is a better platform than the PS5 for multiple reasons, because of game preservation, library preservation, being that every game that I play on my Xbox in some way, somehow, is taking advantage of my console in some sort of way, whether it be auto HDR, whether it be FPS boost, whether it be the 16 times anti-scorpic filtering where it cleans up the image, or stabilizing frame rates that aren't, or stabilizing frame rates. There's just a lot of things that's going on in making games, and Xbox makes a lot of these games more enjoyable, more playable, and adding like a new feature. So yes, PlayStation 5 has exclusives. Yes, PlayStation 5 has a SSD that typically results into about 5 seconds faster load times in select games. Because right now, the number of games and load times right now, it's not that big between the PS5 and Series of which games load faster. There's about a select few third-party games that load faster on PS5, and then in terms of on the Xbox side, they're either retired or the Xbox is winning by some weird reason. And given this date at this time of this video is it's May 2021. A lot of games we're playing right now, we're not playing a lot of next-gen games right now because there's not a lot of next-gen games available. We're all playing either cross-gen or last-gen games on our new console. And guess what console is playing them the best? Xbox Series X is either doubling the frame rate, doubling the resolution, loading them faster. I'm sorry, you can't hate on it. So 6 months later, am I still happy with my Xbox Series X purchase? Absolutely. In the 6 months that these consoles came out, I have sold my PS5 and rebought the PS5. In the 6 months that the Xbox Series came out, I bought and sold many Series X's, and I upgraded my Series S to another Series X. So that's the biggest difference. So I'm really happy with my Series X. I've beaten plenty of games, played many of games on the Series X, and it's looking like once again to be my preferred platform, regardless of exclusive. We know they're coming. Halo Infinite. Got Halo Infinite to come in this fall. Forza Horizon 5 is rumored to be for September. Starfield sometime next year probably. You got Psychonauts 2, which the only next gen version will be available on the series consoles. There's also the Gunk, there's Scorn, there's Stalker 2, there's Crossfire X. That's all coming this year, so I'm not tripping. The exclusives will come, and Game Pass, don't get me started on those day one drops. Outriders. Dungeons and Dragons, the next one that comes out in I think the end of June. You got the Ascent, which is coming. You got rumored to get Battlefield 6. So I'm not really worried about that. So Xbox has been the preferred platform, cheapest way to get into some gaming, the most performant box of all the next gen consoles, and I dare anyone to challenge me on that. But that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Xbox is the best box. I am the best spot. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I'm out of here. Peace.